Hello everyone, this is Gayle, and I don't know about you, but I am so ready for spring. I am just over the cold and the wet and the clouds. I'm ready for some sunshine and warm weather. So I've got spring on my brain, and as I was cleaning up my space, I came across this votive. And I thought, where in the world can I store this votive where it won't get broken? And I thought, well, why store it? Why don't you just cover it with something? So I'm going to put some spring flowers around this vase. I'm just going to set it aside till I'm ready for it. But you can see I've been busy. I've done several things here. I have some Primo White. And this is the Souffle So 80s. And I've got a strip of each one rolled at the thickest setting of the pasta machine. And I've offset it a little bit. It might be a little bit too much, but I can cut off any excess at the end. But I like to offset it a little bit. I also have a green Skinner Blend plug made. I didn't show you how I made these because I've made them so many times before, so I'm sure you've seen it on some of my other videos. You know, if not, I'll maybe do another one sometime soon so you can see how to do it. And this is also a Skinner Blend plug. The purple, and I've got green. This is pistachio in the middle, souffle, and then on the outside is actually a mixture of some greens that I had in my scrap bowl. I've got some blue that I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but I got it out just because I like these three colors together. I've got some gold. This is on a number 3 setting, and this is on a number 5 setting. And I'm going to use that with my green, which is going to be my leaves. And I'll get to this one later, and I'll get to this later. So let me start with the pink. This is so 80s. I must be a child of the 80s, although I'm not. I was grown and had children in the 80s. But I'm going to take this. Both of these are run out at the thickest setting of the pasta machine, and I'm going to run them together through the thickest setting of the pasta machine. Excuse me, just one time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start on the pink end and start rolling. And make sure that you roll it to where there's no air trapped inside. And we're going to make a spiral. Well, that doesn't look real good. It's cold in my craft room, and my pink, even though it's souffle, it is cracking. And I'm sure it's because of the cold. This was the first color I rolled out, and I probably should have warmed it up a little bit before I tried rolling it, just because it's been sitting. But I'm not going to unroll this. I'm just going to try to keep going and hope that doesn't make a difference. It's sticking to my tile for some reason. I don't usually have this problem with the souffle. I'm just kind of pressing it as I go along to kind of close up these little cracks. I did have it conditioned, but like I say, it's cold in my craft room. So let me just roll this a little bit. For one, to make it warmer, and I also need to reduce it. Oh, I got green on it. But that's all right. I need to cut the end off anyway. But you see, we have a nice little spiral. So I'm going to use that to make a flower. And I'm going to use this to make a flower. Now, I'm going to put my blue aside. I may not use it at all, but I just liked, like I said, the pink and the purple and the blue. I'm going to start with my pink, since that needs to be warmed up. And I'm just going to roll it and twist it and make sure that it gets warmed up all the way through. As I'm reducing it, when it's, and you can tell when it warms up because it'll begin to stretch. So I could start to stretch a little bit and then start rolling from the inside out. And each pass will make it smaller. Now, I've got some flower centers that I have in my stash. I keep a little box here that's full of flower centers. This is an ammo box. You see the little squares inside. It's perfect to sit short canes in. They are used for ammunition. These are actual ammunition boxes that I got at not Tractor Supply, at Harbor Freight. But see, this one is white with, black with white polka dots. This one is a gold and yellow spiral. And this one is like a sparkly green that's wrapped in gold. So those are the flower centers that I got out. And what I need to do is to roll my cane here to the same size as my center. Now, because the white is primo, I'm going to have to move my gold. Let me move it over here on the little sheet. This is going to reduce at a different, the souffle is softer than the primo, so it's going to spread faster than the white is, and you're going to end up with these splayed ends, and that's okay. If this was the same color clay, I would have used the tiny Pandora cane ends, but because this is two different types of clay, I don't think that would work. So it's almost the same size. It's got to come down a little bit more. And the reason you want them the same size is if you get your center and your petals the same size, they will fit together very easily. I didn't lose much that time because it was getting warmed up. Let me get my ruler out. So I want to cut this in in 6 pieces. And I need to make sure I have enough. Cut that little end off. Alright, so let's see if I can cut these in 2-inch sections. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and the rest is going to be off of my, let me just move it down here to the 8 and cut it at 10. There, so I've got 6 2-inch petals, and let me cut this to 2 inches. It just barely is, it's a little bit over. So I've got a 2-inch center, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just lay these next to each other and press them together just lightly, just so that they stick together. And then you lay this one in on the crease, and lay this one in on the crease. And then you can just add your others all the way around. Even with a ruler, I got them different sizes. But you see the 6 petals fit perfectly around the center. So there's going to be one flower. I'm going to do the same thing with this, and I think because this is a spiral, I think I'll use the yellow. Yellow looks really good with purple. And again, I'm going to, now both of this, the purple and the white, are both Primo. So I'm going to use the cane ends on this one. Squeeze from the center out. And having this on the end will keep it from sucking in on the end, which is the main problem people have when they reduce canes, is they're not sure how to keep the ends from sucking in. And then when it gets long enough, you can twist and pull. Just roll to keep it round, and then give it a pull. Roll it to get it round, and give it a pull. Now, like I said, when you pull, you do get these little indentations in each end. See how it's dipping in? And that's okay. It's not as bad as the pink. But again, we need to get this down. Let me cut off my end so I see what I'm looking at. Down to this size. And just get some bright colors. It's, you know, springtime is coming. I hope it's around the corner, but I doubt it. It's only February, and here in Virginia we get some of our worst weather in February and March. Just cutting those ends off because I'm running out of room on my tile. I may have to cut some of this off. So I'll just reduce from this end. That got reduced a little bit too much, so I'll just roll it back, push it back together a little bit, and then roll it to make it round. Okay, I'm just see, this is a 12-inch tile, so hopefully, or I think it's 12 inches. No, it's not. It's 11 and a half. But I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut it every 2 inches. And again, that's why it goes off on the end. I was wondering if this was a 12-inch tile, why it was going off, but that will do it. So I cut that at 12 inches, and I have this one left over. I'll save that for another project. So again, I'm going to lay this. Now these are a little bit smaller. I rolled them a bit too much. So I'm going to roll this a little bit. It won't hurt it, especially since it's been sitting for probably 10 years. And I'll cut it about the same size. So I'll lay that there. Lay one in the crease. And lay this in this crease. Then I'll pick it up. Put that one in there, and this one in here, and this one in here. And again, they fit perfectly. You might have to just squeeze just a little bit, but not much, just enough to get it to where they're pressed together. And there's our second flower. So we've got, let me slice the end off of this one. And I'll slice the other end off because it's not very straight. So there's our two flowers. We've got our pink one and a purple one. Now let's make a leaf. Now I haven't reduced this yet because I want to show you what how I'm going to make the leaf out of this plug. Now this is the same as the purple. See, it's just different colors. But this one's going to end up looking totally different. I'm going to cut this down the middle. And look on both sides and just follow your blade down. Make sure it's being cut. So now it's in two halves. Sorry, I wanted to move my camera. So I've got this cut in half and put back together. Then I'm going to cut diagonally here. And I'm going to cut diagonally here. So now we've actually got 6 parts, but we want them to stay together. At least 3 of them and 3 of them. Now what I'm going to do, let me make sure these, I don't want them to stick too much because I've got to put veins in them. I'm going to open this up, and on my thin piece of gold, sorry, like I said, it's cold in my room and this is just not sticking very well. Ordinarily, these would stick together very well. So this is my center. Keep that together. So let's go to the first diagonal cut, which would be this one. And I'm just going to go this way, since picking them up doesn't seem to work very well. It still didn't work very well. Let me see how wide I need it. Maybe I'll just cut them about this wide. Okay, and we'll put this back together. Then we'll cut this side. I probably shouldn't have done all the cuts at one time. Then we'll open the next diagonal. And put another piece in there. Just needs to be stretched a little bit. And put that back together. So now we've got our veins in there. Let me go cut this center clay. Now I've got the veins in the diagonal cuts. Now what I'm going to do is turn this one this is just a mess. Okay, I'm sorry. I messed up my leaf and had to kind of put it back together. Let me find a good center cut. They didn't go back together exactly even, but for our purposes it's going to be fine. So let me start over. I'm going to cut down the center. Then I'm going to make 2 diagonal cuts. One this way and one this way. Now the first thing I'm going to do is open up the diagonal and put it on the thin gold clay. All right. So there's the diagonal. If you can leave your pieces of clay sitting up, it makes it so much easier. And I'm going to put this back. Then I'm going to open the other diagonal and lay it on the thin gold clay. And shouldn't have cut any off but it's far away from me. So put that on. Now what we're going to do is cut down the middle and then turn this one upside down so that the veins are going in the same direction. See this? This way, they're all going this way. But when you turn it upside down, this side now is going up and this side's going up. Now this is where you would put your gold clay for your center. And this has to be stretched a little because I've made the clay different. Put that down the middle. That's not the middle, is it? It's also not upside down. Put them back together. You have something that sort of looks like a leaf. I struggled with this one. But I think I'll take the gold and wrap my leaf in the gold since I'm using the gold veins. And maybe it'll help hold this together despite my many mistakes. You see there's just one little place here that didn't get covered. I'm just going to pull off a piece of gold and put it there. So now we've got the gold, the green leaf from a Skinner blend plug. And let's just let this reduce. I may have to do this over again, but let's reduce it and just see what happens. Again, I'm going to start with the cane ends and just kind of squeeze from the top and the bottom. I have to admit I haven't used these as much as I should have because they're awesome. I just am so used to doing it myself, I just don't remember to get them out and use them when they're available. And you can start pulling. This came loose, so I don't know if that means the suction was broken or if I knocked it off with my hands. I'm just going to roll it between my hands instead of on the table. And just pinch. See, the part that stuck to the cane ends, of course, gets a little distorted because you're messing with the cane, but the inside should be fine. Now I'm at a point now where I need to roll, so these big ends are the only part that should have to get cut off. Let me just see what it looks like. Well, that didn't turn out too bad. Not as bad as I thought it was. But this just shows you even experienced clayers make mistakes. So I'm going to pinch this end, which is the top, and just make it teardropped. And so now I have 2 flower canes and a leaf cane. So let's go and let's start putting these on our votive. First I want to cut several, and normally I would wait several hours before I cut my canes, especially this leaf cane because it's really soft. But I'm going to just slice and hope they don't squash too much. And I'll just turn it after each slice is cut to keep it from flattening out. And I don't have any idea how many flowers I'm going to need, so I'm just going to cut a bunch. Probably won't need too many because this is not a very big votive. Depends on how much of it I want to cover. Just pressing these back together where they separate a little bit. Now I may as well cut all of it. Okay, so there's my purple flowers. Let me put my cane ends over here. And with this one, I'm going to just make sure they're all stuck together before I start slicing. But if you have trouble with your clay being soft, just wait. Let your canes rest. It's really better to let them rest overnight, but I don't have overnight to wait. So I'll just cut these. This is cutting so much easier than the Primo, and this has got the souffle in it. I'm surprised. Let me come back out so you don't miss what I'm doing. Okay, there's my pink ones. Now let me cut some leaves. Now I'm cutting these a little thicker than I normally would, mainly because this clay is soft. But if you want to pinch them and make them smaller, please do. But I'm making these about 1/8 of an inch thick so that I can handle them. Okay, so there's all my leaves. So let's start playing. I'm going to use some liquid Kato. You can use Bacon Bond. You can use whatever. And I am going to pinch my leaves a little bit just to make them a little bit more realistic looking. And flatten the end because that's where I'm going to put a flower. And just put a little bit of Kato on here, of liquid clay. You can use liquid Sculpey if you've got that, but just to help it stick to your votive. And then we'll take the other one and do the same thing. Kind of pinch it here on the ends and flatten it on this in the center. I think I'll put 2 leaves on each flower. And that is probably way too much. You don't need much of the liquid clay. But I'm going to put these together. And then what I should do is put a little bead of this on my table and just stick my finger in it. Because I really put too much on those leaves. And then just kind of place this here. And I think I'll take another leaf. And I'm going to put these going up. I'm going to lay it up next to that pink because I want them to be kind of look like they're going together. And this is so much better than trying to squeeze it out of the bottle. I always squeeze too much. And I'm going to put that there. And then I will put a purple flower. And just keep going around. I've chosen to use 2 leaves for each flower. So this one's a little bit thinner. Actually, it's not even a whole leaf. And I think I'll just do these this way. Oh, I didn't put any liquid clay on this one. Too many steps. Let me turn that just a little bit. You don't want them to look like this. That doesn't really look like a leaf. That looks like clay made to look like a leaf. You want it to look like a leaf. And this one I'm going to come down, and then I'll put a pink flower. And you just keep doing this, alternating your colors. And put your flowers wherever you want. It doesn't really fit on the leaves the way they were twisted. So I'll just turn them the other way. But I need to get one like this one where those go down. I need some that'll go up. So I'll mash the bottom first, then I'll shape the point. liquid clay on it, or Bacon Bond. Like I said, either one will work. And I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me do all of these. But I will put this one on here. And put a purple flower right there. And see, there we are so far. Isn't that pretty? Now, if you have any, remember we did a ladybug cane. If you have any of those, if you made a ladybug cane, you could take a little ladybug and put it on the leaf. Or if you have the butterfly, if you've made a butterfly, you could put a butterfly on here. There's so many things you can do. So I am going to come back after I finish putting the flowers on. Okay, I have all of my flowers on now, and I think it turned out good. I ended up having a little bit of space here, and I ended up just putting a couple of leaves. But if I had a butterfly or a ladybug, which I'm going to look for, I may put that in there. But first thing you need to do is go around and see if you've got any liquid clay that is seeped out, and maybe wipe it off with a Q-tip, because this is glass and anything that's left on here is going to show. And I've got some that I've smeared here, so what I'm going to do is take I would take a cotton ball, but I don't have any handy right now. But I'm going to spray a paper towel with some alcohol and just make sure my glass is clean. And if you're like me and your fingers are on the inside, you might want to check the inside too, because if you had any liquid clay on your hands, it's going to be on the inside. So I'll do that last. But just clean off your votive with a little bit of alcohol. Make sure that it's clean. And then just take that, my alcohol is almost dry. Just take it and go around the inside where you might have had your hands. Okay, so now we can put it in the oven. I might add a leaf there now that I'm looking at it. That's probably what I should have done, is given it a good look over and decide if I wanted to add a leaf anywhere. And I think I'll put one there. Probably could use one here and here. Except I'm running out of leaves. I don't want to put too much. I think I can get by with adding 2 leaves. So let me finish doing this. I've got 2 leaves left. So I think I wanted to put one down here. And I'm going to lift this up a little bit with my blade and put that leaf underneath, so it looks like it's supposed to be there. And I'll do the same thing here. I'll lift this up with my knife and slide this under here. And there we go. There's our spring votive. I'll put this in the oven. I'll always bake my stuff for an hour, so I will bake it for an hour. Be sure you wipe up your liquid clay with an alcohol wipe because if it stays on here, it will never dry. It will always be sticky. But there you go. Hope you like this. I will be back again soon with another polymer clay tutorial. Bye-bye.